Welcome to News Nexus. I'm Jerry, and today we're diving into a crisis unfolding in New York City. No, it's not a failing dam or a collapsing bridge. It's something even more shocking. A highway on the verge of disaster, and the worst part? There's almost nothing we can do about it. This is the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, or BQE. It's literally falling apart, inch by inch, getting closer to catastrophic collapse every single day. So why is this happening? Why is no one fixing it? And what's going to happen when it finally crumbles? Buckle up, because if you ever drive on this expressway, you better hope you're wearing a seatbelt. A road in crisis. The Brooklyn-Queens Expressway is part of Interstate 278, stretching from the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to the Grand Central Parkway in Queens. It's a relatively short expressway, but make no mistake, it is one of the most important freight corridors in the world. Every single day, around 13,000 trucks move goods to and from New York City's two most populous boroughs. But the BQE isn't just an important highway. It's also a terrible one. It's congested, noisy, and let's be honest, ugly. And worst of all, it's about to collapse. Engineers and city officials have been warning for years that this road is in serious trouble. The most vulnerable part? A section running through Brooklyn Heights, where the expressway is stacked in a unique triple-layered structure. The fatal flaw. The story of the BQE's downfall begins in the 1940s when infamous urban planner Robert Moses decided to cut a 6-lane highway right through the heart of Brooklyn Heights. Residents weren't happy, so Moses came up with a so-called compromise, a 3-lane highway stacked on top of another 3-lane highway, with a pedestrian promenade on top. At first glance, this seemed like a genius solution. It kept the neighborhood intact while making room for a major expressway. But the structure wasn't built to last forever. And now, nearly 80 years later, it's coming apart. One of the biggest culprits? Salt. Every winter, salt is spread on the road to prevent ice and snow from making it dangerously slippery. But over the years, that salt has seeped through cracks in the asphalt and reached the steel reinforcement inside the concrete. And when steel meets salt, it corrodes. That corrosion has weakened the entire structure, but the problem doesn't stop there. The BQE was originally designed to carry about 47,000 vehicles a day. Today, it carries over 150,000, more than 3 times what it was meant for. And the vehicles using it now are much heavier than they were in the 1940s. Back then, a typical big rig carried about 20 tons of cargo. Today, legally, they can carry 40 tons. And if truckers decide to ignore federal weight limits, they can load up even more. Illegally overloaded trucks are common on the BQE, adding even more strain to the aging structure. The Band-Aid solutions. So why hasn't the city done anything about this? Well, they've tried, sort of. To reduce stress on the structure, the city has already cut the highway down to 2 lanes in some areas. They've also installed weight sensors to catch overloaded trucks. But these are just temporary measures, like putting a Band-Aid on a broken arm. The truth is, the BQE needs to be completely rebuilt. But rebuilding a highway in a dense, historic neighborhood is far from easy. The city has looked at several options, and none of them seem to work. The failed plan's Plan A. Reroute the BQE. The idea was to shut down the worst section of the highway for 6 years and temporarily turn the Brooklyn Heights Promenade into a highway. The problem? Residents fought against it, refusing to let their beloved promenade become a noisy, polluted expressway. Plan B. Fix it piece by piece. Instead of shutting it down all at once, the city considered repairing small sections at a time. But this approach would make the already congested BQE even worse and could take anywhere from 8 to 20 years. Plan C, bury the highway. Some proposals suggested turning the BQE into an underground tunnel. This would solve the problem of noise and pollution, but the challenges are massive. There's a huge sewer system in the way, several subway stations would have to be moved, and the cost would be astronomical. Over $1 billion. And even then, the tunnel wouldn't properly connect to the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges, which are vital links to the city. Plan D. Get rid of it. Some urban planners have proposed removing the BQE entirely, but that's not an option either. It's the only major trucking route connecting Brooklyn to the rest of the country, and without it, New York City's economy would take a major hit. The clock is ticking. So where does that leave us? The city's latest plan is essentially to move forward with Plan A anyway, shutting down the worst section and figuring out traffic rerouting as they go. But there's a problem. The expressway is expected to become unsafe for trucks by 2026. And even if the new plan gets approved, construction won't begin until at least 2029. That means for at least 3 years, tens of thousands of vehicles, including heavy trucks, will continue driving on a highway that engineers already consider unsafe. At this point, it's not a question of if the BQE will fail. It's a question of when. The longer the city waits, the more dangerous it becomes. If the structure weakens enough, it could partially collapse while still in use, leading to an unimaginable disaster. And the worst part? No one has a real solution. That's the story of the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, a road that's too important to remove, too expensive to fix, and too broken to survive. If you found this report interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let me know in the comments, what do you think the city should do about the BQE? Until next time, stay safe out there.